I've worked for my company for a while now, about 6 years, long enough to have seniority, to know the systems, to train most of the people who come and go. When we got the new government contract, I was curious. The building they assigned us to didn't make much sense. It was a massive 6-story complex, modern, sterile, expensive looking, but it sat in the middle of nowhere. No nearby towns, no other buildings, just a fenced lot surrounded by miles of woods and a narrow 2-lane road that eventually met the highway 3 miles away. The kind of place where silence has weight. Because of my experience, I got first pick of shifts. Normally, I worked mornings or evenings, never nights. But after a few months, we started losing people on the overnight shift, especially weekends. One by one, they quit. Management said it was just burnout or pay issues. But when they asked me to fill in, just until they hired replacements, I should have said no. I didn't. I needed the extra money for a new apartment. The first 2 weekends were quiet. Long hours, nothing unusual. Then came the third weekend. It was a Saturday. A little after 2 in the morning, a storm was tearing through the area. Heavy rain, loud wind, flashes of lightning that lit up the entire parking lot like a camera flash. I was in the control room on the top floor, surrounded by screens showing every camera feed in the building. The room had one narrow window overlooking the back lot. I kept the lights off. It helped me stay awake. I'd been sitting there for hours, watching a movie on my phone, when I decided to stretch my legs. I walked to the window, lifted the blinds, and stared out at the storm. Rain hammered against the glass. The wind carried leaves and small bits of debris across the pavement. Then, a flash of lightning. For a split second, I saw something move. Something human-shaped, darting from one tree to another just beyond the fence line. It was quick. Too quick to be sure. I froze there, waiting for the next flash. When it came, there was nothing. I told myself it was nothing more than my eyes playing tricks on me. I was tired. I went downstairs, bought an energy drink from the vending machine, and came back. But as soon as I sat down again, I noticed one of the camera feeds had gone black. It was the feed that covered the back parking lot. The same view I'd just been staring at. I walked to the window again, and through the blinds, I saw the camera swinging loosely from its mount. Broken, hanging by its wires. I assumed the wind had done it. It was a bad storm. I logged it in my report and sat back down. 5 minutes later, the system beeped. It was the sound it makes when someone uses a keypad to unlock a restricted door. I looked at the monitor. The access point being used was the rear entrance, the one by the parking lot. The display showed a green light. Someone had entered the correct code. That was the moment I felt it. Cold, deep, in my stomach. It couldn't have been another guard. I was the only one scheduled that night. And if it was a maintenance worker or a staff member, I would have had an alert. There was no one supposed to be here. I picked up the desk phone to call for help. No dial tone. I checked my cell. No signal. The storm had knocked everything out. My first thought was to move, get out of the control room, try to find signal in the hallway. So I left, flashlight in one hand, my sidearm on my belt. The hall was dark, humming faintly from the emergency lights. Then, everything went black. The power cut out completely. For a few seconds, the only sound was the rain pounding the roof and the wind whistling through the vents. I knew the generator was in the basement, 1 floor below the lobby. Whoever cut the power had to be down there. I was standing near the stairwell, so I opened the door quietly and started down. The metal rail was cold and slick against my hand. When I reached the fourth floor landing, I heard a door open below me. Then, footsteps, slow at first, then heavier, closer. I froze. My training told me to hold position. My instincts told me to run. The footsteps started climbing the stairs, one step at a time. I turned and moved quickly, silently, back up. My only plan was to reach the top floor, then the roof access. At the top, there's a ladder that leads to a hatch. My idea was to climb up, stay hidden until I could make a move. But as I turned, my gun tapped the railing, metal on metal. The sound echoed up the stairwell. The footsteps below stopped. A second later, they began running. I sprinted up the last flight, heart pounding in my chest. When I reached the top, I shoved the door open, loudly, and let it slam behind me. Then I darted to the ladder and climbed up a few feet, staying just below the hatch. The stairwell door burst open. Through the narrow space between the steps, I saw a dark figure rush past, fast, focused, straight into the hallway, not even glancing upward. When the heavy door closed behind him, I jumped down from the ladder, landing hard. My knees almost gave out, but I kept moving, down the stairs, 2 steps at a time. I could hear him realize it. The door flew open again, footsteps pounding down after me. I don't remember breathing, just the sound of our steps echoing against the walls. When I hit the lobby, I heard a crash behind me, followed by a sharp, human cry. He'd fallen. I didn't wait to see where. I burst through the front door into the rain, fumbling for my keys. My truck was parked just a few yards away. By the time I started it, headlights flashing through the downpour, I saw him emerging from the doorway. All black clothes, hood, mask. He ran toward me. I slammed the gas and tore through the lot, skidding onto the narrow road. I didn't look back until I was nearly at the main road, and my phone finally lit up with signal. I called the police. They met me there 15 minutes later and followed me back. We searched the building together, every floor, every room, every hallway. Nothing. But in the stairwell, they found something. A handgun, fully loaded, unregistered. Whoever he was armed, and if I hadn't moved when I did, they never figured out how he got the code or what he wanted. I still don't know. But I stopped working nights after that. Because when the lights go out and the storm hits, sometimes you realize how far help really is and how close danger can be. I never liked underground parking garages. There's something about them. The way the sound echoes. The way the fluorescent lights buzz just a little too loud. No windows, no natural light, just concrete, shadows, and the feeling that you're always being watched. For 2 years, I worked the late shift at a downtown hospital. I usually left around midnight when most of the visitors were gone, and the city outside felt half asleep. My car was parked on the lowest level, B3. The staff entrance led straight down, so it was convenient. That night, I clocked out at 12:17. I remember because the wall clock in the break room was slightly fast. I grabbed my bag, signed out, and headed for the elevator. Everything was normal until the doors opened. The first thing I noticed was the smell, like damp cement and oil. The second was the silence. Usually, there was at least some sound. A car starting, the elevator hum echoing off the walls. But not that night. The whole floor was still. I started walking toward my car. My footsteps echoed, bouncing off the pillars. Each level was divided into sections, A through D. My car was parked in section C, near the back. About halfway there, I heard something. A soft scrape, like rubber on concrete. Then a slow, metallic clang, faint but distinct. I stopped and turned around. No one. Rows of empty spaces. The occasional fluorescent flicker. Nothing else. I told myself it was just a sound from the pipes or a car cooling down. It's an old building. Sounds travel. I started walking again, this time faster. When I reached my car, I hit the unlock button on my key fob. The headlights blinked twice. That tiny flash of light filled me with relief, until I noticed something off. The back driver's side door was slightly open. Not wide, just enough that I could see the thin silver edge where the latch hadn't caught. I froze. I knew I'd locked it when I came in. I always did. It's a habit. I looked around again, scanning the lot. My pulse was hammering. Every instinct told me to leave. Go back to the elevator, call security, anything but open that door. But I needed the car. My phone battery was dead, and I didn't want to stand there waiting in the dark. So I circled around slowly, keeping distance, checking the other side first. The windows were dark. I couldn't see in. I reached out, grabbed the handle, and yanked the door open fast. Empty. Just the faint smell of old air freshener and cold leather. I exhaled, laughed nervously under my breath. Probably didn't shut it all the way earlier. I sat inside, shut the door, and started the engine. But the second the lights came on inside the car, I saw it. A handprint, pressed on the inside of the rear window, smudged, fresh. It was angled sideways, like someone had been lying down. My entire body went cold. I turned in my seat, staring into the back. Nothing. No movement. No sound. Just that faint, oily handprint staring back at me. Then I heard it. A sharp tap against the glass. Not from inside. From outside. I looked toward the passenger side mirror, and for a split second, I saw something move behind one of the concrete pillars. Just a glimpse of dark clothing, then gone. I shifted the car into reverse, backing out fast, eyes darting between the mirrors. As I turned the wheel, my headlights swept across the far side of the garage, and that's when I saw him, a man standing by the support column, half hidden in the dark. Hood up, face obscured. He didn't move, just stood there, watching me. I pressed harder on the gas, backing out completely. Then he started walking. Slow at first, then faster, jogging toward me, hands down by his sides, movements deliberate. I slammed the car into drive and floored it. My tires screeched on the wet concrete, the echo booming off the walls. As I turned toward the exit ramp, I glanced in the rearview mirror. He was running now, full speed, his figure flickering in and out of the shadows as the lights overhead passed. He wasn't yelling. He wasn't waving, just running. When I hit the ramp, I saw the barrier arm ahead still down. It was one of those mechanical gates that lifted automatically for staff passes. Mine was clipped to my bag. I reached over, fumbling for it, swiping the card against the scanner. Nothing. The light stayed red. Behind me, footsteps echoed, louder, closer. I hit the scanner again. Still nothing. The system was glitching like it sometimes did after midnight. I threw the car into reverse, ready to smash through if I had to. But then, the light turned green. The arm lifted. I sped through, turning out onto the empty street. My heart felt like it was trying to escape my chest. By the time I reached the first red light, I pulled over and locked the doors again, double-checking every seat, every shadow, nothing. But I didn't go home right away. I drove straight to the police station 3 blocks down and told them what happened. They sent 2 officers back with me, checked the cameras, and found what I'd been hoping they wouldn't. On the footage, you can see me entering the garage, normal, calm. A few minutes later, a man comes in through the stairwell on the opposite side. He crouches behind a row of parked cars, waits. When I unlock my car, he moves closer, then disappears from the frame. For nearly 3 minutes, there's nothing. Then my headlights flash, and you can see him duck down by the passenger side just before I reach the car. The moment I open the door, he slips out the other side, quick and quiet, vanishing behind the next column. He'd been inside my car. The police never caught him. They said he probably followed me down, maybe saw me leave the hospital at the same time every night. Learned my routine. After that, I started parking on the street. Sometimes I still think about the handprint, how fresh it looked, how close he must have been, and how, if I'd sat down a few seconds later, he might have still been there. I was 23 when I rented the house on Sycamore Hill. It was small, older than it looked from the outside. The kind of place that felt hollow when you walked through it for the first time. The floors creaked, the doors didn't always shut right, and the whole place smelled faintly of old wood and rain. But it was cheap, and I needed somewhere quiet. The first week was uneventful. I unpacked, worked from home, tried to make it feel lived in. I'd leave a few lights on at night, not because I was scared, just because the house felt too empty in the dark. On the 8th night, something changed. It was late, around 1:30. I'd been up editing a project, drinking coffee I didn't need. I was about to call it a night when I heard a sound from downstairs. It wasn't loud, just a faint, careful sound, like someone testing a floorboard. At first, I thought it was the wind. The house was old. It made noises. But then it came again. 2 slow steps, then silence. My skin prickled. I muted my computer and listened. The house went still again, then a soft click. The unmistakable sound of the back door handle moving. I froze. For a long moment, I didn't move. I just sat there, breathing slow, trying to decide if I'd imagined it. But the sound came again. A metal rattle, gentle but deliberate. Someone was trying the door. I stood up, heart pounding, and grabbed my phone. No signal. It dropped sometimes up here. I tried again. Nothing. The house was quiet, but I could hear something outside. Faint breathing, maybe just wind through the screens. I moved slowly toward the stairs, every step creaking like it was announcing me. Halfway down, I stopped. Through the narrow gap between the railing and the wall, I could see the bottom of the back door. The porch light was on, casting a faint yellow glow across the floor. And in that light, I saw movement, a shadow. Someone was standing on the other side of the glass. Not moving, not knocking, just standing there, facing the door. I couldn't make out a face, just the outline of a head and shoulders. I backed up the stairs as quietly as I could, careful not to make the boards groan. Upstairs, I locked myself in the bedroom and pressed my ear to the door. For a while, nothing happened. Then, softly, a different sound. The front door. The handle turned once. Then again, I wanted to call the police, but my phone was useless. No signal. My router was downstairs, so Wi-Fi was gone too. I was completely cut off. The only weapon I had was a flashlight. I turned it off, crouched near the wall, and waited. The front door didn't open. Instead, I heard the slow grind of a window somewhere, the faint scrape of glass against wood. He was trying another way in. I could hear my heartbeat in my ears. My breathing sounded too loud, too heavy. I kept telling myself it was probably some drunk neighbor at the wrong house. But I knew better. This was deliberate, patient. Then a new sound, closer this time. The creak of a step inside the hallway. He was in the house. I remember the feeling, my stomach turning to ice, every sense sharp and useless at the same time. The sound of footsteps came slowly, pausing between each one. Like he was listening. I stayed still. Every instinct said to hide, but I didn't know where. The closet door was thin, the window too high to jump from safely. Then I remembered the attic hatch above the hallway. It had a pull cord, old wooden stairs that unfolded. If I could reach it quietly, maybe I could climb up and pull the ladder behind me. The footsteps moved toward the living room. I waited until they faded, then opened my door slowly, inch by inch. The hallway stretched out ahead, dark except for the faint glow from the streetlight outside. I took one step, then another. When I reached the hatch, I reached up, pulled the cord, and froze. The small wooden ladder creaked loudly as it unfolded. The sound echoed through the house. I held my breath. Then from below, I heard a single slow step. He'd heard me. I climbed fast, pulling myself up, reaching for the hatch to close it behind me, but before I could, the light from the hallway shifted. He was there, standing at the end of the hall, facing me. No words, no movement, just the faint reflection of his eyes catching the streetlight. I pulled the hatch shut. The sound of his footsteps came fast, sharp against the floorboards. I dragged an old trunk over the hatch, wedging it in place. Then silence. I sat in that dark attic for what felt like hours, listening, waiting. Once, I thought I heard whispering. Not words, just the low sound of someone breathing under their breath. Then it stopped. At some point, exhaustion must have taken over. I remember waking up to faint morning light coming through the vents. When I finally climbed down, the house looked normal. The front door was still locked. The back door too. But the window in the laundry room was open, just a few inches. The screen cut clean through. I called the police. They came, took photos, asked questions, checked the yard. There were footprints in the mud near the back porch. Bare footprints. Whoever it was hadn't taken anything, hadn't broken anything else, just came in and left. That night, I didn't sleep there. I packed a bag and went to stay with a friend across town. A few days later, I came back with the landlord to grab the rest of my things. We went through the rooms one by one, and everything seemed fine until we reached the attic. When I climbed up, the air felt heavier. Dust floated in the light coming through the vents, and then I saw something near the hatch. 2 small handprints, pressed into the dust. Fresh, not mine. They faced the wrong direction, like someone had been reaching up from below. I moved out that day. The landlord said the previous tenant had left suddenly. No explanation. Sometimes, when I pass that road, I still see the porch light glowing faintly at night. The house looks empty, but I know it's not. Because there's one thing I can't stop thinking about. Those footprints by the door, and the way the handprints faced up, like someone was waiting to climb back inside.